Hello, I'm Mark Tucker.
And I'm Alan Furstenberg, and welcome to Two Voice Devs.
Two Voice Devs, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Man, it's good. This is going to air in 2021, which I'm going to say lots of good things happen, but oh man, I'm ready for 2020 to be over.
So looking forward to 2021 and all, I know things aren't going to change instantly.
No, they're not.
But there's this optimism that New Year's bring that I truly think is justified this new year.
Yeah, so yeah, there's definitely, I think we still have a little bit of a bumpy road the first part of 2021, but hopefully vaccines can get out to all of the communities that will be able to figure out a way to make that as fair and as efficient as possible, so that we can get as many people protected. And I have that same wish throughout the world. We just need to get this taken care of. So that's my big thing. If there's only one thing could happen this year, then I would say, yeah, just figure that out.
But no, hopefully there's a lot coming up this year. Certainly as developers, I think we're looking forward to a lot of interesting stuff, both in our professions, in our personal professions, and in this voice industry as a whole.
Yep.
So what are you most looking forward to that you hope will come out? Let's put it that way. Or yeah.
Oh man, I've had some things on my list for years.
Yeah, and we've talked about that list before.
We have talked about those. But really, the thing that I'm thinking about is that there still is a lot of inequality on which countries different features are available for. I'm thinking specifically monetization. For example, if I were to distribute things just in the Alexa English-speaking countries that are available, that's US, UK, Canada, Australia, and India, then in skill purchasing is only available in US and UK. So I would like to see more equalization as far as which features, and that's just one example. That there are other examples of different features. Like I think quick links were officially just released in the US, and then
let's stick to monetization for a moment, because I know that's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to this year. Is that Google's announced a couple of times that there are new monetization features coming, and so this is nothing that I've learned privately. I mean, we can't talk about stuff that we learn from our contacts, but one thing they've announced publicly is that there will be new monetization features. Not that they've kind of told us what those are, not that they've really said what it'll be like, and not that they've said that it won't be limited to the US first, because that's also pretty typical of Google. But just the fact that what's currently an abysmal scenario, just trying to use transactions on Google is nightmarish. Hopefully these will be features that will fix that. So I think many developers on the Google side are looking forward to improvements there, which have been promised. So it's not even like these are on my wish list of things that I know they're not going to do. This is something they've promised. So we're hopeful on that front.
Yeah, and maybe 2021, as I'm looking at doing cross-platform things, and I'm working on getting Snatchword available on Bixby platform, that maybe 2021 will be the year that Bixby adds some of those same in capsule purchasing options.
I thought there was some in
you know what?
There was some purchasing, there was some transaction features already.
You know what? I am going to have to go back and look at that, because if that's the case, I have missed the big announcements on that.
It's possible I have as well. I'm far out of that ecosystem.
All right. Well, I need to plug back in, because hopefully I just missed something and I can start working on it today.
So yeah. So as you said, seeing things come to more More international platforms would be nice. I'd like to see more internationalization as well. On the Google side, it's really frustrating that there's a lot of locale support, but only on the phone, not on speakers. So it's possible to do things in a bunch of different languages, but you know, if you somehow get a smart speaker in those regions, you have to run it in English still. So it'd be really nice to see Google playing off their existing experience with other locales and bring that to the broader speaker market and not just narrow it to Android phones.
Yeah, and I think that also goes along with time zone. I've had to do kind of a hack with time zones. I know we have a player that's playing in a different country, but they're having to pretend like they're in the US. And so they're all, you know, the things that I've got with Snatchword just is based on if you're whichever locale that you're registered in, it picks a time zone, and in the United States, that's Eastern time zone. And so even though they're playing in a different country, they always get all their time stuff in Eastern Standard Time.
Look, if we want to start talking about our fantasy wish list for 2021, we can. But no, I'd love to see time zone. I'd love to see better time support in general, as you know, we talked about last year. I'd love to see better locale support. You know, that was a feature that existed on the Dialogflow side that hasn't been moved over to Action Builder yet. So yeah, there's lots of things like that that I'd love to see. I'm not overly optimistic on them, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I guess I'm not necessarily making any big predictions on what's going to happen in voice dev in 2021. I would just like to see the things that they've already talked about and promised, or that are in preview and beta, just come out and be available. And
well, so what things that are currently in preview or beta on the Alexa side are you looking most forward to?
Well, I've seen some things talked about in preview along the mobile integration stuff that I've signed up for. You know, there was probably at least a half a dozen things that they demoed at the Alexa Dev Days that I haven't been able to get on yet, as far as signing up for the preview of.
So the mobile stuff is all preview. It's not publicly available, or not generally available.
You know what? I haven't seen. You know, once again, maybe I've missed something, but I haven't seen it. You know, and I remember signing up for it as soon as it came out, and then I haven't heard anything, no emails or anything along those lines. So,
you know, one of the things that I think worries me about what 2021 could bring on that front is this division between what something will look like on a mobile device and what something will look like on a non-mobile device, on a smart speaker or smart display. I know on the assistant side, app actions are a really, really cool thing. As I mentioned last time, it's great that it's really easy to integrate voice into an action or into an app.
Yep, a mobile app. Yep.
What kind of worries me, though, is I want to see those same kinds of interactions without the mobile device part. And right now, that's not there. So, you know, I can say, start a run. And if I say that to my phone, that's great. And it'll work, and it'll, you know, start me on a guided run around the neighborhood, or tracking my run around the neighborhood. But I can't say that to a smart speaker and have it just track my activity via my watch, or say that to a speaker and just do the run on a treadmill. It's this two-level system that kind of bothers me, and I'm not sure exactly what the solution to this is. I know there are a couple of things that they could do to at least level some of the playing field,
right, that
I hope they do in 2021, but again, I'm not optimistic.
Well, and so it sounds like there's also a difference between what you could get on Assistant on a smart speaker versus what you can get in Chromecast. So there's starting to be this division of what's possible where, and makes the developer's job so much harder to understand all the different scenarios where this would work or this doesn't work, because it's not really ever documented. There's not like one table that says, here's a list of all of the features and here's all the places when it's available.
Right. So you don't know, you've got rough ideas of here's what a smart speaker and a smart display offer, but not some of these fuzzy in between platforms.
Yeah.
And you're right. And until we get that sort of thing, and until we get the tools to make it easy for developers to adapt to these different platforms,
Yep.
I think we're going to see some developer resistance, and part of that is because we're going to see user resistance. If a user says something or tries to do something and it works sometimes, and they don't necessarily know that it's working different because you're saying it to a speaker versus your Chromecast versus your phone versus something else.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I've noticed a lot of users have the tendency to feel like, well, they did something wrong.
Right.
Therefore, it makes it a less of an experience because they feel like, well, I just don't know how to use this thing. And that might not be the case.
No, I think it's important, so I think there's a lot of responsibility all around. It's the responsibility of the platforms to make sure that they build something that can be a consistent user experience everywhere. But there's also this challenge to us as developers to make sure that when we build it, we make sure we take advantage of platforms where it makes sense, and compensate where it doesn't, and adapt and understand how to make an experience that, if it doesn't work the same, at least works equivalently across platforms.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the challenges that I was working on with Crosstalk.
Yep.
Is making sure that, even if we're dealing with some things that have a screen and some things that don't, it needs to at least be usable and comfortable for a user, no matter where they are.
No, I agree. And yeah, I think there's just more progress that we can make. So maybe less leaps and bounds for this 2021, as far as more like filling in the gaps and making things smoother.
More evolution, less revolution.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm looking for on 2021. Yeah, hopefully.
And I think, thinking back to how to deal with multiple platforms, I think this is where I think we're going to start seeing some tools helping us. And I think probably the big story of 2021 across the board is going to be in the tools and the tool sets and the capabilities that we have and that we start to use. So, we'll see things that can, we'll see those tools that, instead of just saying, well, you're on an Alexa versus you're on Google, or you're with a smart display on Alexa versus a speaker on Google, not just telling us what they are, but the tools also helping us through them and giving us the ability to more easily adapt on different platforms.
Yeah, so it's been definitely an interesting, challenging challenge with doing Snatchword across multiple devices and platforms, and it's just highlighting how challenging, even if you share a lot of the same code base across multiple devices, then there is still differences that you have to take into account. So I've got Alexa working for smart speaker and for the Echo Show line of things with Alexa presentation language. Right now I've got Google Assistant that's working on smart speakers and hubs, but no really additional niceness as far as display stuff that I'm doing for the hub. And then from the just from the get-go, Bixby is multimodal in the fact that the first thing you develop for is mobile, and they have display stuff and they have their own view technology. So even though a lot of the intents and the code's the same, then I'm needing to get that data back to the device so that the device can display the different views. And even playing with the idea of doing multiple different form factors on the Bixby side of things, and looking to 2021 for interactive canvas, for adding that richness to to Google, and then considering, well, if I'm already gone the web route, then maybe I switch APL out for web API for games. So that's, besides any additional modifications for the game, there's just enough new stuff.
Right. There's enough to that you need to keep in mind as we're developing these sorts of things. So I think we're starting to see the tools providing these sorts of things. I mean, Jovo has always helped on some level, being able to deploy to multiple ones. And multivocal has always had this notion of abstracting things just a little bit, so you didn't need to think as much about what the details of the platform underneath you needed to work with are.
Yeah, and speech markdown is something that that helps on the SSML. Trying to smooth the bumps out on that, so that you can use one set of text to speech content and have that properly formatted speech-wise for the different platforms.
Right, and I think we're going to start seeing more and more of that. I truly think 2021 is going to be the year of tooling, where we finally start to say, we've had enough of writing custom bits for each platform.
Yeah.
And start saying, okay, how do we abstract some of these notions, and how do we let our platforms handle some of these abstractions, or handle some of the complexities of making sure different platforms are handled correctly.
So do you think that's going to be more the tooling that devs use getting better, or are you going to see more of a enhancement of features for no-code tools to, as a way to kind of start to bridge that gap or get closer? Or maybe tools that kind of bridge both of those. I don't know.
I think it's going to be both. I do think, though, we're going to start I think we're at a point where developers are saying, this is getting ridiculous. We need better tools for us.
Yeah.
And, so you're going to see Jovo making tools that, making the dev specific tools better. It's work that I'm doing in multivocal, which is very clearly dev oriented. But we're also going to see, I'm not sure we're at a point where we can do good global low code. I think voice flow is certainly moving in that direction, and even Google's moved in that direction to some extent. And Alexa and Bixby have been there for a while with template-like things, blueprints.
Yep.
But I don't think we're quite. I think there's still work that needs to be done there as well. And I do think 2021 we'll see more of it. I hope we see more of it anyway.
Yeah, I do too.
One of the questions I posed a couple of weeks back was, how much are we dogfooding our own process? One of the milestones in any programming language is when the editor for that programming language is written in the language itself. It's always an interesting milestone point.
Yeah.
When you can finally make something sophisticated enough, either the editor or the compiler, or you can make something sophisticated enough that it can bootstrap itself. We're not there with voice yet. We're not even close.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see what steps we are taking to get there.
Yeah, and I think we'll keep making progress on that front. I think there's lots of things. I'm really excited still about voice and the things that I'm doing there, and still lots to learn. Which as a lifelong learner is something that is why I'm where I am after all these years. Is still learning new things with technology and being able to implement solutions. So I'm excited about the opportunities and what's going to happen, coming year and years to come. I'm still really excited about voice.
I'm very excited about not just where we're going, not just the big picture, not just where we're going to be in 5 years, because that's really exciting.
Yeah.
But I'm still excited about what we're going to see this year.
Yep.
I do think we will see those nice incremental improvements that let us say, yeah, this is the next step in voice development. This builds on the things we've already learned. We're applying the lessons that we learned about the problems that we had, the big friction points, and addressing them and moving to the next step. So we find the next big friction point. I mean, you know, it's not going to be a completely solved problem, but I think we're ready to start applying lessons to make some of those challenges easier. And I think some of that may be, you know, how do we deal with content management, and how do we deal with better response, and how do we deal with, you know, responses that sound more fluid and better scripted and more natural. And then how do we deal with input so they're more natural? How do we, you know, all of these things that we as developers need to work with designers to find the right solutions for. And I think that's where we're going to see progress.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think anything that we can do to offload stuff. I've been on plenty of projects where I've been the only person that's been wearing all the different hats, or a small team of mostly developers, and we need to find a way to better work with designers and people that are focusing. You know, I would love to have people that focus as much on the conversation design and think about that as much as I think about code. On how things are going to, you know, the overall architecture of the system, or how to solve this particular problem. And you know, that's, you know, one of the things I'm excited about with where I am now, is that we do have a team of designers, and you know, I'm learning things already from them with just
it's fantastic
working with them. So I'm really excited about that aspect.
And I think the next step for all of that is being able to take what the designer's vision is and being able to execute it. And there again, I think, you know, we as developers need to up our game a bit, and we need to lean on the platforms to provide us the features so that we can do it and build the tools. And, you know, I think we're at the point where designers are beginning to catch up to us, and we, you know, they're giving us their vision, and we don't have the tools yet to meet their vision.
Yeah, it's definitely challenging to, and it's exciting though to also see what that vision is as far as of what it can be. And you're like, oh wow, yeah, let's remove all the hurdles that we can and get these voice experiences out there. Yes.
No, definitely agreed.
Well, cool. So brand new 2021, and just would love to continue as always hearing from you. As far as the things that you're working on. So grateful for those that are followers of Two Voice Devs, and have a great year.
We love the feedback that you've been giving us. We're looking forward to hearing your thoughts on this subject, on any subject, on what you would like to hear from us. Because I think one of the things that that's going to be important in 2021, as in order to do all of these things, is for us to be able to communicate how we do them, how we as a community can do them. So we'd love to hear what you want to hear from us as well.
Absolutely.
And until then, we hope you have a fantastic new year, a great year ahead. We're looking forward to talking with you more about it on Two Voice Devs.
Two Voice Devs. Take care, everybody.
Take care.